Classic Truck Rescue. I recently made a video about a red Polaris 500 Sportsman, and I said when I got it that I was kind of intending it to be for Jamie. And it's a used quad, so the only reason I bought it and was so eager to buy it was because we knew the person that owned it and bought it knew. It was someone Jamie works with. He's responsible, he's not a spring chicken, and he doesn't beat on his stuff. And it had super low, like 550 miles and 50 hours on it. We just knew that it was in good shape and it hadn't been beat on. And we got it and brought it home, and both of us really enjoyed riding it. It was just a night and day different experience, crossing the stream and going down to the swim hole on the river on it. A journey that took us 45 minutes the first time we did it with machetes. We literally had to hack our way down there when we first got the property. That was the only way to get down there. And if you wanted to go down there a second time, you still had to bring your machete, because we didn't go down there that often. We were too busy working on putting in roads and power to be going down to the swim hole. And so we might hack our way down there, but 6 months later, that's overgrown again. But anyway, to come from an experience of having to hack your way down there to where you just hop on this cushy quad, and we had no idea the advancements in quads. They're quiet and comfortable and easy to ride. And it was just, after being jostled on the tractor going down there, let's just say we liked it a lot. And the first time I saw Jamie riding around on it, she was just grinning from ear to ear. Honey, we have to put the manual in my study room.
Oh, yeah.
Go back around, go for another ride. Go places, go down to the swim hole. Go down to the swim hole. Go on. Oh, look at that. That's a good one for Jamie. It's a good one for Jamie. That way I'll have a riding buddy. Yeah. What do you think?
Cool, I like it.
Right on.
I like it.
So it was about the time I saw her grinning that I started looking for a quad for me. And I really got to like the red 500. I was able to pull my trailer around with my tools in it and carry parts and things like that. It just made my life a lot easier, and I didn't have to warm up my tractor. Because my tractor, if it's cold out, you got to warm up the glow plugs, let the tractor thoroughly warm up, which you still have to do with the quads. You got to be able to get around the property quick. That's the bottom line. There's 25 acres out here, and it's nice to be able to get to any place on that 25 acres quick and comfortable. And I got to thinking, Jamie's not really gonna ride the quad that often. Maybe I could just get another one for Jamie. The one we already had was perfect for Jamie. It just was. And so then I started thinking, well, I'll get a newer one in good condition. Anyway, bottom line, we both got used to the Polaris and both loved it and everything, but I'm leery about buying a used quad. It's a scary thing to buy a used quad, because people beat on them and people think they're boats and submarines and stuff like that. And it might look good, but it might have been drowned or something. Or it might look good and have low miles, but it might have been wide open miles jumping over logs. It's a risk that you take. Anyway, so a guy had one for sale that wasn't made by Polaris. It was a cheap one, if that's a clue to anyone. I really don't want to get into the politics of this, but I'm just going to say it was a CF Moto, and my thinking was I'll get an inexpensive one that's in perfect condition, used, and will be good in the quad department. So a guy had one for sale, and I watched a ton of videos on the CF Motos, and everybody had glowing things to say about it. But what I kind of realized was the people that had all the glowing reviews of the CF Motos were selling them or parts or upgrades for them pretty much. But anyway, So I was expecting it to be a really quality machine. A guy had a 2019 CF Moto, was 500. 2019 CF Moto, it was at least 500. But anyways, he advertised it as having 100 miles and like a couple hours on it or whatever. But when I got there to look at it, the first, and it was supposed to be in perfect conditions, and judging by the 2 pictures that he posted, it was a beautiful looking machine. But I was quickly disappointed. It was way out in the middle of nowhere. And when I got there, I was the first person to call. He told me he had a bunch of people waiting. When I got there, the first thing I noticed was that it had body damage. One of the fenders by the right front wheel was busted with a flapper like that on it. And I said, wow, you didn't say anything about that. And he's like, oh, that's just where I backed into it with my side-by-side. Well, I don't care how the damage happened. It's the fact that it's there, and you said it was perfect, and it's not. So they immediately stuck the key in the ignition and turned it on. And the first thing I noticed was that the odometer didn't say 100 miles like the ad said. The odometer said 276 miles. And I pointed at that and I said, you said it had 100 miles on it. He said, well, oh, is that what I put? He's like, well, it's low miles. And so there's 2 lies right there before I've even sat on the thing. And then I sat on the thing after it warmed up. And as soon as I put it into gear, I felt like I was on a toy. It wasn't electric, it was gas powered, but I felt like I was on a toy. The minute I put it into gear and it started moving, it just had this whiny sound like an RC car or truck would have. And the throttle, which it was something that I saw a lot of people mention in the reviews, it has a lag and it only kicks in until you get it pressed, till you're giving it, and it can just go like that. Maybe being on the Polaris, and our Polaris is a 2007, so it's old. It's 15 years old, 15 or 16 years old. Yeah, that's right, 2007. Anyway, so it's old, but it has low miles, and it runs like and drives like brand new. But it's also got a solid feel to it. I can't really explain. This did not have this. I don't even know how to explain it. It was a night and day difference to me, and I'm not familiar with a lot of quads. The only quad, matter of fact, I ain't going for it. That was fun. Don Man's representing the channel. Classic Truck Rescue, Truck Inspector General, Annabella approved. Woof. Clean my eyes out now. I got contacts in too.
Really? Oh, sorry, brother.
That's all right. I didn't have to keep up. That's the only quad I ever rode. Was that I've never ridden a quad. No, never ridden a quad. Dirt bikes and stuff like that, yeah, but not a quad. And I didn't do the three-wheelers back when they were the rage. But it was a night and day difference, and I was very disappointed. And I was already 99% sure I wasn't going to do any kind of deal with this youngster. Oh, that, and another thing, he said, it's only 276 miles, he said, and the only persons that have ever ridden it, that's what he said, the only persons that have ever rid this thing is me and my son. And this guy was 12. No, he wasn't, but he was young compared to me. I'm old. I can call you 20, 30-year-olds youngsters, because you are. Anyway, but he, you know, he was young anyway, so I know his kid's a kid, you know, and that doesn't mean anything. When you tell me the only two people have ridden it, okay, only two people, only two people have ever ridden this quad. Well, only two people have ever ridden this motorcycle, me and Evel Knievel. And he rode it on one of those ones where he went to the hospital. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean anything. Only two people. Well, you lied to me already twice, and now you're telling me your kid's involved. No. Anyways, it was a bad experience. I was upset. And so I left in because I had scraped a little something together and I was going to get a used one. But I was leaving and it really was out in it was in Boring, Oregon. There's nothing out and I love Boring. It's beautiful. We go there all the time, but there's not a whole lot going on out there. So I'm leaving this guy's place. I turned around and brought it back. I said, look, I'm not going to waste your time and I'm not going to waste my time. But I did tell him this. I said, you know, I sell old trucks, and I go, here's what I do. I point out what's wrong with it first, then you get them used to that, they know what the problems are, and then I start telling them what's good about it. It's a better way to do it. You don't omit the bad part, especially when you're saying something's brand new, like brand new. Broken, and it's not like brand new, and 100 miles is not anything under 500 miles, especially in quads, because mileage and hours count a lot more in quads. But anyways, I digress. I was leaving his place and I felt bad because I needed to get this quad thing wrapped up. We need them for the property. I don't care what anyone says in the comment section. Oh, Rick, you didn't need that. Oh, Rick, you didn't need a nice one. I know what we need. And after riding that thing around here for a couple of weeks, Jamie and I need 2 quads. Because here's another thing. We go back to the swim hole during the spring and summer, and homie stays in that swim hole. If I'm working out here and it's it's 100 degrees. And when I get done working, I go back there and I sit in that swim hole and love it. And Jamie, when it starts to get dark, she only likes to stay down there for a little while sometimes. Well, it was before we just had the tractor, so it's like somebody was walking, somebody's hiking. And you know, if you get done working on a building all day and then you go down there and you sit in the swim hole cooling off and luxuriating in the woods, you don't want to hike home and cross the stream and all that. And Jamie doesn't either, you know. So yes, it is kind of a luxury. I acknowledge that. But you know what? Look what we've been through. Look what we've been through out here. You can do this, Rick. I can do it, and I will do it, but I didn't know it was going to be this much doing, Terry. Anyways, you know, we had nothing but bushes and trees. I say it all the time, bushes and trees. That's what we had. No roads, no power, no electricity. Just a machete in the wilderness. But we deserve this, and I'm not second guessing myself. I saw a sign when I was leaving. I saw a sign when I was leaving, and I was going through Boring, Oregon, Polaris. Oh, and I know Polaris. I know what they make, and I know that it's good. And so I wheeled and go for an empty trailer that I had behind me on in there. And then I did the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life, which is I walked into a power sports showroom.
I love it.
With a little bundle of money in my pocket. And so everything on the floor was priced beyond what Homie ever has in one solid lump. No, never. I don't have that much. But anyways, there was some beautiful stuff in there. And I knew I couldn't afford it. I said I'd like to look into getting one of these, but it would have to be on credit. And she said, well, let's run your credit. What can you lose? And I said my credit score, but go ahead. Because I had already laid eyes on a black 2023 Polaris Sportsman 570 Trail Edition black. And the Trail Edition already has the perfect front bumper on it. It's got the LED headlight and parking light upgrade, and already comes with the winch. It's got the, it was imposing, and it was only a 570. And I was worried, to be honest with you, I haven't always lived a responsible life, and I was a little worried that maybe, you know, because I got my tractor, I paid off some of the stuff. I've learned to buy new equipment. If it's something that's going to work out here, the 80-year-old stuff's cute and it's great for videos, and we'll get it running again so we can use it again. But you need new equipment if you're going to make progress. You don't want to be working on your stuff all the time. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, I've almost got the mower paid off, so I felt like I had a little wiggle room. I have 2 more payments on our new riding lawnmower, and it's done, paid for. And anyways, after about 15 minutes, she said, oh, you're good to go. And I said, oh, good. And she said, yeah, whatever, what do you want? And I go, well, what can I get? And she said, I could get anything. So my first thought was, Polaris makes a 1000 cc quad that's beautiful, and an 850, and I quickly realized I had to be practical. If I do finance something, I spread it out and I make sure that the payments are real little. And if I would have got, like, I think she threw a few options at me, and one of them was for the 850, and my payments were like $299 a month, and that's too high for me. I like little payments. I didn't want to sign up for life, so, and I knew I needed to be practical. And look, I don't need a huge motor. The 500 is awesome to me. It's plenty of power. I wouldn't use all of the power on the 500. I just wouldn't. I'm not going to be out here doing, well, I probably won't be doing a lot of wheelies out here. I'm not going to beat on my quad. I need it. You know, I've come learned to appreciate stuff, and especially if you work hard to get it. But anyway, so I settled on the 2023 Sportsman 570 Trail Edition, and I said, well, when can we load it up, you know? The one that was in the showroom was already sold, I think. The only one they had was in a box, the black one, the black Trail Edition. So I had to wait.
I'm sure I'm complaining and I'm whining and I'm a crybaby, but that's uncalled for. I mean, it's just stupid.
She said, well, I'll have them put it together, and I figured a week or something. And she said, oh, it'll be ready by tomorrow latest. I said, whoa, I didn't want them to hurry, because when I got my Kubota, I think they hurried when they took it out of the box, because I had to tighten a lot of stuff up. But anyway, so that's where I'm at. Not trying to justify myself to anyone, but I probably will do some Polaris review videos when I add accessories and stuff to it. You know, might be a little thing. It's, you know, Classic Truck Rescue is about classic trucks, but we're also building the classic truck wrench, and a lot of people watch for that aspect. We try to show a little bit about prepping and building and putting in utilities and all of that. So to me, this is part of the classic truck wrench, and Annabella loves riding on him. I already uploaded a video of her riding on the red 500. Anyway, so we'll get down there tomorrow, and I feel like it's Christmas. Anyways, we'll get down there tomorrow and get it loaded up. Maybe I'll get a little video of Jamie and I riding around together for the first time on him. She just grins from ear to ear when she's on. She named hers Red, so I gotta name mine something Blackjack or something like that. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow when we go pick it up.